Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So this is a very exciting week because for the first time in a very long time we have some proper Star Wars content dropping on Wednesday. The behind the scenes Disney gallery for The Mandalorian Season 3. In this downtime before the Ahsoka show, that is really exciting because Star Wars has felt very quiet lately, and that's often the case between shows. But look out for my videos breaking down some important tidbits, some interesting pieces of information. Fingers crossed we also get some really cool insights, maybe some deleted scenes if we're lucky. But it feels really good to have something exciting to look forward to in the very near future, even if it's just a behind the scenes doco. But whether Star Wars is on an up or on a down, I'm here to give you daily news from the galaxy far, far away. So if you've not done so already, please be sure to hit that big red subscribe button, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted every time that I post a new video. So no more jibber jabber, let's dive into today's news. So we begin with some huge leaks for Andor Season 2. In central London, over this last weekend, a scene for the Andor show was being shot, and some fans took note and leaked these pictures. You can very clearly see a droid, some Imperial officers, some stormtroopers, and most notably, Dedra Meero, Denise Gough herself. Partagaz was also spotted, as well as someone who looks like Cyril Khan. A really awesome scene. They're saying this is the ISB headquarters, more shots of Coruscant, again at the heart of the Empire. Dedra was one of my favourite characters in the first season, so it's really good to see that she's going to be focused on a lot more in Season 2, along with Cyril Khan. As Tony told us, it's about to get very weird. I think what Dedra represents, the despicable nature of fascism and those who work under it, and Dedra really is one of the most despisable characters, but at the same time, as Denise Gough has even said herself, she's likeable because, in a weird way, before the Bix torture sequence, you're kind of rooting for her. You see that she's in this unforgiving world, how awful her superiors are to her, and you want her to prove yourself, but then you realize, wait a minute, this person is an absolute asshole. And I remember last winter Denise Gough broke down the reasons they got Dedra to give the faces that she makes. The sour resting face, the various expressions which are kind of hilarious but also very demonic. You can see the evil in her eyes, she's soulless, that kind of thing. Those decisions were deliberate, and I'm really rooting for Denise Gough as an actress because in Andor she's fantastic, but also because before she was chosen by Gilroy, she almost gave up on acting. And she has so much to give, so much talent. Andor would not be the same show without her, so I'm so pleased that she stuck it out. And so now onto Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor, who's commented on the prequel trilogy once again, talking about what it was like to work with George Lucas. He recalls that back in 1997, when they were filming for The Phantom Menace, which would release in 2 years' time, every time Ewan was on set, he would do lightsaber effects with his mouth. He says, quote, "I kept getting carried away. This was a big, expensive production with high-quality sound effects, so he was told to stop doing it, but of course he couldn't. When he had the lightsaber in his hand, he was in the zone. He was young Obi-Wan, and no sound effects or George Lucas directing could stop him from making the sounds. He probably did the same on Kenobi." And I've got to say, that is a very big symptom of being a Star Wars fan. When he was a kid, he was a big Star Wars fan. He watched A New Hope with his uncle in it, Dennis Lawson who played Wedge Antilles, and all of us did that. Whether you grew up in the prequel era, the original trilogy era, if you pretended to have lightsaber fights with your friends or siblings, you probably did the sound effects too. And if any of us were ever cast in a Star Wars film, we would do the same thing. If we were a Jedi, if we were given a lightsaber, we'd probably make the sound effects as well. All the vrooms and whooshes, Ewan really leaned into it. And something I really love about him every time he gives interviews, whether it's on the Kenobi show, the prequels, he's got such a down-to-earth human side to him. He loves talking about his Star Wars experience as if he's a Star Wars fan. He's one of us, and he's very humbled by the role he plays. He always does his best to give a Kenobi performance that's in line with Sir Alec Guinness's legacy, because that was his template. When The Phantom Menace was being filmed, there were no prequels just yet. It was just the original trilogy of films. So Ewan McGregor based young Obi-Wan Kenobi under the tutelage of Qui-Gon Jinn on Alec Guinness. His facial expressions, his mannerisms, his little tics, playing with his beard, playing with his moustache. His beard only coming in for episode 2 and 3, and now the Kenobi show. And there are rumours we're gonna see him in Star Wars Ahsoka. It wasn't just Hayden Christensen for those flashbacks. We're gonna get all 3 of them, and maybe Captain Rex too, in the current timeline and also in flashbacks. With Obi-Wan, he'll probably be in Clone Wars flashbacks. I can't imagine them stepping on the legacy of Alec Guinness when it comes to the Force Ghost stuff. And who knows, maybe Yoda might appear too. Remember that nod he gave to her in Star Wars Rebels? Now that he's dead, he can communicate with her much better. She name-dropped him in Mando Season 2, and you never know, Yoda might bring up Grogu. Just an interesting fan theory, let's move on. On the subject of Star Wars Ahsoka, a big question some fans have is when are we getting the final trailer? We had the teaser at Celebration, on Dave Filoni's birthday we had another one called Begin, but when is the full final one gonna be? I predict as we come to the end of June and the start of July, so 1.5 months away, I would say it's probably gonna be in the next couple of weeks. That'd be amazing, and I do think with Indiana Jones 5 coming out, they might wait for that to drop first, and then really start pumping Ahsoka in the marketing. And so finally, my dear friends, ahead of the Dial of Destiny, Harrison Ford has expressed gratitude towards Star Wars, George Lucas, and Indiana Jones for giving him the career he's had. In a recent interview with Inquirer.net, Harrison Ford credited George as the man who changed his life, who gave him the life he has. The comments come ahead of Indy 5, which drops this week. The revered, soon-to-be 81-year-old actor has starred in many iconic roles, including Han Solo, Indiana Jones, Deckard in Blade Runner, and Jack Ryan in Patriot Games, and Clear and Present Danger. However, over the years, fans and onlookers have felt that Ford seems to express disinterest in both Han Solo and also Star Wars on the whole. The famous example people use is wanting Han Solo to die and be killed off in The Force Awakens, which of course he was. But some new comments seem to reveal the opposite, and many fans over the years who've met him have said he's very down to earth, and even though he comes across as not liking Han Solo, he does appreciate everything Lucasfilm's done for him. Ford was asked whether or not he thought Star Wars and Indiana Jones were going to be as big as they are now. In response, he pointed out the seemingly ridiculous nature of Star Wars when it was first being developed, but felt it was fairytale-like, and he understands its merit. But he was not prepared for the overwhelming cultural impact it had. And personally, guys, my favourite anecdote about Harrison Ford and Star Wars is that he did the voiceover for some of the trailers. So hilarious, but also so well done. So here's the quote. "In a word, no. Did I think they might be successful films? Yes. Or I would have run away. It might have seemed odd to the British crew when we were first making Star Wars. They might have said, what's going on here? There's a 7-foot man in a dog suit talking about Chewbacca. There's also a beautiful princess, a wise old warrior, and a callow youth. Then there's a smartass. I know the part I play, and it's fun. I thought, this is a fairy tale, the kind of story that's always been successful, whether it's written or filmed, and at that point in my career, it didn't matter to me that the film would become hugely successful and end up changing movie history." So he acknowledges this and then goes on to say, "I was grateful because Star Wars changed my life. I had opportunities that extended beyond director George Lucas and my success in making that film. It gave me freedom and opportunities that I never imagined I might have." It's the same with Indiana Jones, except it's not a fairy tale, it's a different kind of construction, but it's recognizable as the kind of film that is broadly enjoyed by moviegoers from all walks of life, and that is so true of Star Wars too. I love Harrison, I know he sold his likeness to Lucasfilm, and so I really hope in some way, shape or form we do see more Han Solo, whether it's Harrison Ford de-aged or Alden Ehrenreich in Solo a Star Wars Story. But share your thoughts on this and everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you, always.